Okay, so we have the last 6 of these belt cracking exercises, and these are a little more complicated than the first 6. They mix up quite a bit. So this first one is lower body control leg blocking. In theory, you're practicing leg blocking, because there's quite a few throws that use like the leg blocking action, striking down. There's also one in this set where the leg is lifting up. So with this one, I'm going to use that same marching stance. I crack the belt here. I'm going to step one, just like I did in the forms themselves. Crack the belt, and then crack the belt again. Okay. 1, 2, 3. Okay. And I turn and crack, step, crack, crack it up. Again, yes, I'm lifting the foot up kind of high. You don't have to do it that way. You can just go out from here on the ground. It just helps to open the hip and close the hip and to work that aspect. But you can also even bring it up even higher and then really drive back. Okay. Okay. So this next one is called twisting. And there's a lot of things that are twisting. This isn't twisting a palm person's leg. It is you're incorporating all of your core pieces of the footwork. So I'm going to use marching, horse, steaming, marching, horse, horse, and you can say this is a crouching stance. The footwork is like that. And in the middle, when you go to, say you've done this initial move, squat deep so that you can drive up and out of this, okay? And for this one for sure, I'm really utilizing the turn of the foot to help me, right? And then look, if I squat it back. So this one is actually, it's easy to lose your stability when you're doing it. You really want to think about keeping the head lifted up, or not to lean, because it changes up so much. Okay, so I'm going to do it at a gradual pace. So 1, 2, 3. Right, and then if I step through again. Okay. And so the next one, so that's 7 and 8. 9 is embracing. And this is the one I was talking about where I literally fold the belt this way. Okay? So it's doing 2 things. One, I have to work the hip hinge, just like with hip throw, or with bowing. And with embracing, I need to do the hip. Again, I have to be able to pick something up. Potentially something that's as big as me, or 50 pounds bigger than me, 100 pounds, whatever it may be, that you're trying to pick up human-wise. This one is stationary or static. So I'm here like this. I've got some little horse stance. And we'll do it both directions, but I've got my belt like this. A lot of people do like this, right? They really will push the hip back, and they really won't get into the leg. Or people do like this, and they a push out with a knee. Try your best to feel like there's a shadow behind you, you're going to sit on it. So from here, I go down, and then as I open the hip, or close the hip, excuse me, I'm going to crack the belt. Now, you can straighten it out all the way. I like to leave my legs kind of in a tight position like this to kind of get that stretch in my hamstrings. And I really try to make it more about the upper body. Now, you can scroll all the way. Also, too, this isn't blocking the knee. As soon as you do it, just like with the hip throw, right? I'm here, and I do this, and I'm going to go right back to here again, right? I really want to work that because you got to think if you're, say you get a bowing or hip throw, and you throw the guy here like this, and he is able to get a hold of you. It's so easy for you to get pulled over. But if I train myself to say I do this hip throw, instead of me doing this and staying here and then trying to come up from here, that I do it for my hip, right? I threw this guy over, and then immediately I squat. It's harder for him to pull me over, and it's easier for me to stand up because I have my legs under me. So the other portion of this, I'm going to kind of drive me up, and my hands are going to come up and over me like this. Okay, I don't do it like this. I mean, you know, I still keep my elbows somewhat down. I don't do this. And when you do it, you're going to arc the back. And when I arc the back, really what's happening is I'm going to bend my knees a little. And in other words, I'm not doing like that, right? I bend my knees, and so I make it to where my abdominals and my lumbar is having to support me. Right? Think about it. If you want to pick up somebody, the piece itself, right? And I picked up somebody, I want to do this right, but look, if I do this with my spine and I leave my hip block, I'm going to hurt my lower back, right? But if I do it this way and I'm able to support the weight, right? This becomes one piece instead of it being a kink in it, and then that's the weak spot, and that's where the force is going to go. I don't want that. I want it to where it transfers through the whole body, right? I'm going to take this way out and this way, or I threw the guy over this way, right? Like the forearm, you know, it's like this, right? And literally, it's almost as if you're falling and you're twisting like that. I mean, it's not that you get yourself out of bounds, but even if you did it this way and you threw the person over you, right? Again, I don't want to lock the hip and this way and then put the weight, the force in my back. I want to do it with the whole of me. So the whole piece, I'm doing my horse stance, I squat. On this side. Okay. So we do leg blocking, right? And again, we're kind of working this kind of twisting action. This next one is leg lifting. When you do the motion, I'll do it slow first. So here's that marching stance again. He steps and he turns. Now, I'm going to lift this leg. Lift. It's not doing that in the upper body stays. Let's see people do like this. Same thing we're doing in throws. Or they go to throw somebody and then their foot comes up like that. The reality is you're making the attachment from here, right? So if you're doing like this, then you're not even using the whole of the muscles, right? I make this attachment, and it should be this portion of me that is generating this. That's the attachment point. So if I don't even do that, I'm doing part of this. I'm not getting the best benefit out of it for probably what I'm saying, and you'll see, you'll use the glutes and the lumbar so much more by leaving the leg. I'm not saying that it's locked out, but it's not doing, you're not curling it up either, and then leaving out a portion of the body. So anyway, so 1, 2, I turn the bell, and if you think like this, if you point it out there, you're only going to go a certain far. If I think about my chest going to my leg, or if I break this point, I'm looking at my shin. Okay? There is an exercise like this too in Chiao where you come through and you tap the shin, right? It's an exercise. Later, you'll do the same exercise and the hand comes through this way and you flip yourself over. Everything is tied together, right? Whoever, my Sifu's teacher, Master Chiao, I know some of this stuff he put together himself and the methodology, but some of this training has been around for generation after generation of people doing this stuff. They really well thought it out, you know. So 1, 2, turn, lift. 1, 2, and then, like I said, lift. 1, 2, lift. Yeah. The more you squeeze your torso to the thigh, the more stability you'll have. And that's throwing somebody or not. The more you put it in your head, see, like, I make this big hole here, right? So as I go to lift this, see, my stability will go away. I do the same thing myself. I have to always go back and correct myself. And the more I correct myself, the more I think about it, the more stable I get, the better I get at executing the leg lifts and the throws. But to bend this section, don't put it here. Right here. Bend this. Okay. And the last two. This one is stepping with hip throw. So it's kind of like the twisting piece, in the sense that it turns. So 1, 2, turn, and then I go to squat, come back, right? And then I'm going to step, squat, okay. And then the last one is, my personal opinion, well, back to that one. It's like I said when we were looking at the forms themselves. When I go to do this, and I go to do this, squat immediately, right? Don't get in a position in the squat. You never get low enough. And if you're trying to practice it to get the development, to be able to get low for embracing, bowing, hip throw, you're not really trained, right? So, squat right away. Squat again. Okay. So this last one is bowing. And a lot of people have a problem with this one. In theory, what I'm trying to do is I want the belt to come through and hit me in the back. And you'll realize that because that shows that I extended the hip all the way, and it brought it through. One of the problems with people when they do the move, though, is that, I'll do it this way, they leave the arms up here, and then when they go to do the action, they never connect to the core. So when you're doing this bowing, as you go to squat to do it, draw the elbows in, right? And then just like I was saying on, well, even that leg lifting, it's about closing these two pieces together. The hip through, it's about squatting and then closing these pieces together. The same thing with this one, right? If I have too much space here when I go to this, it's very difficult to bring it all the way through. It will go flat, you know. It's going to be like that or something. So be sure that the elbows drop enough that you can engage the core muscles. And I'm going to look it up, right? So, and look, I don't have to grip this thing like this. I'm going to hold it with my thumbs and index fingers. So if I do it right, and I slowly, I should be able to bring it through and just holding my fingers like this, right? I'll even make the ball longer, right? I'm here, and again, I'll bring these in, incorporate this, I'll make it even longer. This one, right? I recommend in the beginning kind of choke up on it, and then you show up hand. Here, right? I squat right away. I'll bring me in, right? I kind of like I'm contracting me, and then I'm going to expand when I lift, when I open the hip. Right, I do it from behind, here, and squat, bring everything together. Okay. But like I said, be sure that these are not too high. Be sure you close this, right? I'm going to touch this to this, bring these down, and then open, right? And that force that you create, it'll bring the belt back through. And the same thing if I was going to throw somebody, right? You wouldn't hold this arm up here like this, what do you mind? But it'd be really hard to throw him over, right? But look, if I draw him to me, right, as I go to do this, I can use that, right? And if I do it out here, I'm putting all of this in my back, whether it's straight or not. But if I pull it in, everything is so much more supported. So anyway, if you're doing solid out or you want to learn it, I hope you try these. Now, do it with a belt. And then there's doing it with a chain. I know that sounds kind of crazy, but maybe like a half inch, 3/4 piece of chain, folded in threes. There is a device that some groups use where, like, say it's like 3 links of chain, and they're welded onto a piece of metal, and then there's 2 handles that are welded onto that, and they crack it. Trust me, this will give you a great workout. If you're doing sets of 10 or 12 of these, you're doing them all together, you're not talking like I'm doing, and you want to be blasting the whole thing, it'll really work you. It'll work your cardio, it'll work your core muscles, it'll work the legs, it'll work the back, forearms. It's a great exercise. And then if you increase it by going to a piece of chain, the weight of the chain, I try to like it as much as a 1-inch chain. It's fat, I have to hold it like that and trying to turn it. And it's demanding and challenging. Again, with the apparatus of Chiao, and you can consider this apparatus. The strength of the body is what's going to maintain everything. Technique is great, and we need technique. But if you're good at, it's just not my secret says, if you're good at one thing, you know, or we'll say a specific group of technique that you're good at, and that you know the counters to it, you know the defensive actions, your own counter-attack pieces if it goes to fail. That's great. You don't need to know hundreds and hundreds of techniques, but what you do need is to maximize what you have. I mean, this is what you have, the body, right? You need to have the best cardio you can have, the best strength that your body can have, the mobility, the flexibility, all of that. And that's one of the unique things about Shuai Chiao as it relates to other traditional styles of Chinese martial arts and martial arts in general. Not many of them emphasize physical training to the point where there's now this group may have, you know, this apparatus or this thing, et cetera, but to have a whole plethora of training aids to strengthen the body and build it is great. So those out there that exercise is really important to them and they want to get that, Shuai Chiao is great for that. It's just you have to make them or source them or buy them, and a lot of the stuff you can't buy, you have to make them. So anyway, I hope you liked the video, and just check out the other ones within this group. If you have any questions, don't hesitate to send me an email. I'd be happy to help anyone. Thank you.